Hey guys, figured I'd start doing some more impromptu walkthroughs. I'm wearing my infamous launch blazer today, but many of you have asked for more content, more guidance on how to use the platform, and you're very well going to get it. So it might come sporadically, it might come at regular intervals. Obviously, we will still have Charles and coffee, but I want to make sure that you feel that we are accessible as well as know how to use the product. So why am I wearing a blazer? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my brand voice blazer. This is my awesome jacket that I like to wear when I'm building brands. And so that's what we are going to talk about today. So many of you have rightfully noted that we were the first ones that had brand voice available. And the most recent iteration is actually very powerful. But I also want to make sure that you understand there's a couple different ways for you to get there. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So, boom, share screen. Let's go. All right. So hopefully everyone can see my screen now. So what we're going to walk through today is brand voice creation. So the way that brand voice works, what it even is brand voice? I think brand voice is kind of like AGI for artificial intelligence. Like no one actually has a set standard and it differs every person that you ask to. For some people, brand voice is just tone of voice. For other people, brand voice is this mythical being that incorporates DNA, incorporates aspirations, it incorporates a lot of different things. For some people, it's just the keywords that they use. So for us, we've tried to consider all of these capabilities all in one place. Now, if you recall, the way that you get to brand voice settings is via project. We set the brand voice at a project level. That means that your brand voice can be across a bunch of different documents all under one project. So if you want to do a brand voice, make sure that you're creating a project first. So if you go to projects, you click new project, then you can go to this brand voice product project page. So first off, you get your project name. So our project name is just going to be brand voice demo. But brand name, let's do gocharlie.ai. That is our brand name. And what's our tone of voice? The tone of voice, think about like how does your content come off? Like if you had to use a couple adjectives for how you're normally speaking, what would it be? And I think for us, it's fun and informative, but witty. And so this helps Charlie learn your brand. Remember, there's no restrictions here. Just try to be direct and as precise as possible with how you're describing it. The more context you can give them, the better. So then you go to brand keywords here. Brand keywords, think about this as similar to SEO, but maybe words that you want to use throughout all of your content. So for us, we like to use puppy, we like to use AI content creation, we like to use marketing assistance, we like to use AI. These are all relevant things to what we're creating. We even maybe like to do marketing, just regular marketing. And so when we go into our brand description, this is really where you want to talk about your brand personality. So think about how is my brand and attempting to make people feel, or what does my product do? This is kind of where your USPs would go. This is where anything that discusses the aspirations that your brand attempts to give to your customers, this is really where that comes through. And so for us, it's making content creation as fun as playing with a puppy. Awesome. Then target audience. Target audience, this is again like tone of voice. You can pick this out. So for us, we target digital marketers, we target SEO specialists, and we target entrepreneurs. Now, a couple people have asked me, should I just limit this to one audience? Should I make it multiple audiences? The answer is it's up to you. We find that if you want a little bit more precision, maybe make target audience one thing. But if you want multiple audiences addressed with the same thing, you can do it. Just know that it's not going to be as specifically targeted content if you're doing only one or multiple target audiences at once, especially if it's a little bit more broad. But if you're in the game of mass broad engagement, then maybe you want to add a couple different people. So preferred marketing content. This one is more so just to help direct the product experience. Some brands are more blog native, some brands are more social media native. For us, we create social media content. And then you can even put your brand website. Now, the brand website really is just about giving Charlie context, right? Charlie wants to learn your business, your product offerings. But the important point to note is once you've done all this beautiful work in creating your brand voice, Make sure that you're setting the project to active. If it's not set as active, it will not be considered as part of your brand voice for the content that you create. So once I'm done, I click create and boom, I am now in my brand voice demo project. So I just create a new document. Awesome. I'm now creating in my brand voice. Now, a couple different things to note here. First off is that you can rename the document. Remember, if you create new documents, they will all be under that same project. So you can create as many documents as you want under that brand voice. Really easy way to navigate that is you just go to your product or project page and you can click through and check it out there. Notice this is different than your content library. Your content library is going to focus on the actual documents and then the content that you're creating on a regular basis. Do not focus this on your projects. Your projects is done through projects. Content library is documents. All right. So then I want to create some new content in my brand voice. So what do? So any feature on the platform will now incorporate this brand voice, but a couple areas where it doesn't. First is the assistant. So the assistant does not consider your brand voice. The reason being is that the assistant is intended to help you create content, come up with different ideas, and make better decisions on how to go to market, but also help you research. If your research was biased by brand voice, that probably wouldn't be the best thing in the world. Now, we are working on a chat capability where brand voice will come into play without you having to do all these crazy long form prompting. But this is meant to be brand voice free. Now, the blogs also themselves, they don't typically consider brand voice. One Click Blog does, but Blog Wizard does not. Reason being is that you have a level of control with Blog Wizard where we felt that brand voice wasn't necessary. We want to make sure that the Blog Wizard gives you as much control as possible over that creating process. And so let's just go to the Social Media Wizard, for instance. This is a prime example of how we use it. Let's just go Instagram post, and let's say that I want to do an influencer post in the first person. So my keywords are just going to be GoCharlie.ai, press enter, press control and enter, and it fetches. And so what's happening here is Charlie's considering the brand voice, he's considering the prompts that you gave him, and he's ultimately creating the Instagram post based upon everything that you put into the brand voice and everything that you put into Social Media Wizard. So as you can see, the puppy part of our keywords from brand voice is coming through. As you can see, a lot of our information that we put with our slogan is coming through. A lot of our hashtags are coming through. A lot of our different things that we focus on, such as SEO and website content creation, all of that has come through because we set it in the brand voice. So if you're thinking to yourself, wow, that's pretty awesome, because then in the inputs panels, I don't have to give as much context. I can set my brand voice and set all that information in there and purely just tell Charlie what I want to create. Take that even a step further, and you can go into content repurposing, and you don't have to put much context at all in Command Charlie. Charlie's going to know your brand. So all you have to do is add additional information that you want Charlie to consider, such as your website, and it will consider your brand voice plus your website. This is really, really powerful. So I want to make sure that you guys understand this. Use your website plus the information you've given around your brand voice as context. That's super powerful. You're basically giving Charlie your product library and how you want to talk about your company. Maybe you're more of an audio driven person. Well, you can use a podcast that talks about who you are as a person, what services you offer. Maybe you're a visually driven brand. You can use images of all the different types of products that you sell or the different services that you sell. Maybe you're a text driven brand and you can just drop in some information from your About Us page on top of brand voice, and all the content will be created in the context of that. This is a very powerful tool to supercharging your workflows, because much of the information you would put in the inputs pane now is taken over by the brand voice capabilities. We want you to set brand voice once and be able to create all the content you need to consider your business. Now, just maybe a quick demonstration of this. Let's do this. Write a video script for TikTok. And so what Charlie will do is consider your brand voice, consider the website, and create content here. Now, one thing that I want to show you is a way that you might be able to hack playing with a bunch of different things on different brand voices. So let's say that I like my brand voice, but I'm thinking about making a pivot for my company and I want to address a different demographic. That's totally fine. So what you can do is have a no brand voice project. So I set this is active. I update it, and now no brand voice is active. This is really great if I want to use content repurposing then to test a brand voice. So this is really fascinating. So instead of putting all the information in up front, what I can do is take from competitors or take from different industry websites I like and have that ultimately drive some of the content that I create. So maybe I say make a brand playbook, or maybe I say describe this brand and come up with a slogan. I can do that here. What content repurposing allows you to do is use different types of content and experiment with brand voices based upon information that you've created. This is a really cool way that you can use content repurposing to test and experiment with different brand voices from different companies and ultimately drive that into the brand voice that you want to create. Now, exciting times ahead for brand voice capabilities. We know that many of you are in the early stages of your business. We want to give you the tools to have the building blocks for your basic marketing needs. So in the future, if you're coming with a product idea, but you don't know nothing about marketing, nothing about positioning, what you can do is come to Charlie, and Charlie will basically choose the brand voice attributes, will choose the appropriate target audience. He will choose the information that you communicate about your brand. So think you're going to start from just, I have this idea for a product. I can ask Charlie for the brand name. I can ask Charlie for the product names. I can ask Charlie to name the services. I can ask Charlie for feedback. And then I can take all of that information and ultimately turn that into the info that I populate in this project tab for different brands. So as the platform evolves and as Charlie gets even better, Charlie will be able to take over more of this process for you and make suggestions where you might not be sure about some of these inputs. This is an incredibly powerful tool to allow anyone that's not a marketer to become a marketer, and anyone that is a marketer to have a super powerful assistant. Now, that's it for brand voice discussion. I'm in my brand voice blazer. I'm hoping you guys had a good time. I know this wasn't scheduled. I hope that we can do more impromptu versions of things like this. We still will have Charlie's and Coffee tomorrow, but I wanted to give you an idea of how you can think about brand voice in a way that's meaningful for you and how it affects the platform. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys for the day. More tutorials to come. Have an awesome Thursday, and thank you for going, Charlie.